Hey everybody, it's Chris. Let's take a quick walk back in time with one of my favorite videos ever. I'm reposting this one because it's been requested a number of times and I think it's finally time we get this one back. But this is a 2007 Chevy Corvette Z06 twin turbocharged, making 1200 horsepower. Check this thing out. Alright, obviously I'm going to try to give some details here as to what this what this car really is. This car is equipped with the Warhawk LS7X Black. There is actually a website. We'll give you the website on our video here to take you to the story behind that. But as it sits, the car right now is at 13 psi of boost in the turbo system. It's a twin turbo setup. On 93 octane, it's making about 925 horsepower at the crank. With 16 pounds of boost and 100 octane race fuel, you were at about 1200 horsepower. So today we're not going to hit the full 1000, we're at about 925, so be a little bit of a diluted experience. But there is a gear selective boost control that gives you 700 horsepower in first gear, 800 in second, 1000 in third, and then 1200 in fourth and fifth. And then you go back to 1000 in sixth, as that is your overdrive. It's a really well built. I mean, this car here ran a 10.1 at 152 miles an hour. That kind of speed usually is getting you into the low 8-second range for all of the drag guys out there. The car really does. I haven't driven it yet. We're going to take it out for a ride. The car does drive, or seems so far, very much like a stock vehicle. Very much a factory-built racer. The oil system has been completely done to cure oil starvation. It's an APS twin turbo setup. We'll give you all the specs obviously again. Driveline has a McLaren RXT dual disc clutch. It feels extraordinarily light. I just moved it around the warehouse, and the transmission has the upgraded 08 Z06 T6060 transmission, rebuilt by RPM Transmissions to level 5 specifications. Fuel system, I mean there's so many things on here between tires, fluids, everything on here. The brake pads have been changed, the entire brake line's in fluid, a set of drag radials that we have to go with the car cover and everything. But this is what the owner told me, and he's a good friend of ours, by the way. This car was built to be reliable, it could be driven anywhere. I put 350 plus miles on it in 1 weekend, no expense was spared, and parts were selected on basis of quality, not price. All in all, he bought a brand new 07 Z06. He is the only owner of this car, and put about almost 60 grand, about $57,000 into this car. But let's walk around, take a look at the condition, because it's absolutely flawless, and then we'll take it for a spin. And the real thing I want to show is just how easy this car is to drive. It's the one thing he swore by. I haven't driven it. Obviously, I've driven a lot of cars, so I'm kind of excited to see what it feels like. I really don't think I'm going to get an opportunity to see what 925 horsepower is like, so... and we're on public streets here, let's be honest. So we'll see how we're doing. Take it for a spin, and we'll walk around it. The entire exterior of the Z06 is stock. It's even the stock wheel on there from the factory. You do have some high-intensity discharge lights here. You know, I normally point out any kind of imperfections. There's nothing to talk about on this car. I mean, it is so well kept. I'm absolutely floored at the condition. Look on the front here. We got some Nitto tires on here. There are 285/35Z R18s up front, but you do have ceramic brake pads in there. And they are definitely very evenly worn. A high performance tire, as I'm sure you'd need. This is the Liar's badge here. This Z06 badge here says 505 horsepower. Okay, on we go. Velocity yellow. See the General Motors badge there right in front of the front wheel housing there. But you also have a Nitto tire on the rear here. These are 335/30 ZR19s on the back here. These obviously have the highest rated tread pattern that the Nitto tires offer. But looking to the rear, obviously the exhaust tips have been changed. They don't look that much different from stock, but obviously are of a much larger diameter. I would have to measure those and tell you what they are, but I'm sure I have it included in the documentation. But this is an absolutely stunning car as it sits. I mean, if this was a stock Z06, this is still a really sweet car. But knowing how well built this car is, and apparently how easy it is to drive, which we'll find out, we'll see here shortly.
Take a look inside. I mean, the interior is even in excellent condition. The bolsters have not been worn at all, but you know, it even smells new inside. Just drop myself in. I don't want to disturb the interior too much, but everything in here is stock, and everything works. You know, the air conditioning blows nice and cold because it has been running inside the warehouse here, and it blows fine. But the only real change to the setup is you have a boost control here, right in front. And I believe you have a programmable shift light right here. I'm not going to explore that obviously, but it does show your boost pressure and everything. You also have a modified shift knob. Obviously the transmission being changed out, you had the opportunity to do that, but beyond that you got heads-up display, factory navigation with Bose sound system, a great stereo at that, heated front seats, and you know, if you're going to get this car optioned up this well, I guess you really probably do want to have it be a very agreeable daily driver. Out behind the wheel, the Z06, if I can even call it a Z06, it's actually probably gone about 3-4 blocks with this so far, and it's as comfortable as a stock Z06. I mean, it's a little louder, but it's good loud. I can't hear any turbos right now. I'm just idling along in third. I'll drop it back to fourth, and we're rolling along about 35-40 miles an hour. So mid-range power doesn't seem to be, you know, any different than normal. I do love that sound though. That's a pretty loud rumble. I hope you can hear that in here, but oh, it's just a deep, deep bass rumble. Sounds good. Alright, we're gonna do a roll on here in third gear, so as we get to about 40, I'm gonna hit it here. Hang on. Unreal. You can feel your individual organs getting pushed back into your own body. That's how unreal that thrust is. I cannot believe that. Cannot believe it. I'm speechless. I know I'm semi-speechless, but I've never experienced a car of this magnitude before. But I mean, even at moderate throttle, I know Dave's getting thrown around over there, but I mean, this car really is so simple to drive. And I just put the windows up, we got the air conditioning on. Listen to this. That's 6th gear. Chilling. Well, what a car, though. I'm gonna have to take my hat off and shake our buddy's hand, because he really did an amazing job of putting together a car that is so livable. I mean, here. The car right now is running 217 degree coolant temperature. Obviously we just took a little quick blast there, and that's not even halfway through the range. I mean, it's below halfway through the needle on the stock gauges here. It's really such an easy to drive car. The clutch doesn't feel bad. The turbo system's super linear. I mean, it spools right on real smoothly. When you pull off, obviously you just get thrown forward because the momentum changes so much. But you know, I'm sitting at a stoplight here, and I'm comfy. You know, AC's blowing nice and cold. If I wanted to listen to my favorite, I don't know, Neil Diamond disc, I could. But you know, light's gonna turn green here in a second. Just see how easy it is to just walk away from a stop in this thing. It's like a normal Z06, any other car. And a Z06 is now no bashful car. I mean, that's a car that has 505 horsepower stock, and is pretty refined. But I mean, you're getting a much tougher ride. I mean, it's built to be a road race car. It's laps the tracks with the best of them, and the Z06 is a very accomplished car in stock form. And when you add this kind of power, I think it even speaks more to the volume of what the Z06 is, because when you can put 1,000 horsepower down as easily as this car does, with very little modification to the suspension system, it's pretty ridiculous. Holy fucking shit. Okay, for being a virtually brand new car in condition, and being a 100% daily driver 1200 horsepower car, granted it's in 1000 horsepower mode right now, this is single-handedly the most amazing car I've driven, no question there. And I've driven
Lambos, Ferraris, you name it. But the closest thing I've ever really touched, and I thought about this, was I did get a chance to drive an 02 C5 Lingenfelter twin turbo, which was about a 900 horsepower car. That particular gentleman spent over $200,000 setting that particular car up, because I knew the owner real well. Carbon fiber drive shaft and everything, and that car didn't even feel like half of what this car is. And that was a C5R race block. But I don't know. I know I said I'm speechless, but I still am pretty stupid.